In the decade of the 2020s, even the great media was not spared the ravages of the worldwide podcast drought. In times of fear and confusion, the job of informing the public was the responsibility of the Buddy Shotz, a great worldwide podcast whose reputation for clarity and truth had become the symbol of hope for the people of Earth.
Holy shit! Holy shit, no! Matt, are you okay? Oh my god. What the fuck happened here? You finished Welcome to Mooseport. Shit! Damn it! I knew this was a bad idea. No!
Hello, my son. In this fortress of solitude, I will share with you all my wisdom.
Who am I?
Your name is Skit, the last remaining buddy from the planet Bloopers. Although you've come to live alongside humans, you are not one of them. Your amazing powers you're just now beginning to see.
I want to stop people from watching bad movies.
And you will, my son. Live as one of them, Skit, to discover where your strength and your powers are needed. But always hold in your heart the pride of your special heritage. They can be a great people, Skit, they wish to be. They only lack the 9.95 to show them the way. For this reason, above all, the capacity for good, I have sent you, my only son.
I can't wait to tell Mike about my clever idea about watching Welcome to Mooseport. He's gonna love it.
Stop! Don't do that! It would be a super bad idea to watch Welcome to Mooseport.
Whoa! Thanks, Mike! You just saved my life!
Whew! Man, what a week. Actually,
What a month.
yeah.
Mean Gene May, what a rush.
Yeah. So this is the last week of Mean Gene May.
Are you sad?
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed...
Because we're doing another month of Mean Gene.
Fuck that. I enjoyed it, but I'm also glad to be moving on to other things.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, Gene Hackman.
Thanks for the memories.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing. So this is Buddy Shotz 121. And as usual, thank you guys for watching. And if you enjoy, make sure... Oh, what's that? Right down there. That's a subscribe button. Whoa! Yeah. So, thank you. So it's poll time. Have people seen Superman, Matt? 100% said yes.
Yeah.
Shocking that like one of the most well-known characters of all time was seen. And then I asked everybody, did you enjoy Mean Gene May? And they all said yes.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you enjoy Mean Gene May? I should ask you.
That was great. It was a roller coaster of emotions.
Right.
A lot of ups, a few downs.
One big
and
down.
some people were puking after it was over.
Yeah. One big down. Speaking of one big down, this month is great because, or this week is great because this is the end of fucking Welcome to Mooseport.
Finally ended.
Yeah. And
your prediction, you nailed it, dude.
Hey, you know.
I was almost there with mine, though.
You were.
It came down to one.
Well, they were like,
who would have thought? It's the most predictable movie ever.
But then it like didn't. They like swerved us. I was like, what? It was
that
like
was bad. It was dumb.
He's like, so we got play golf. They become friends. Matt called it in the opposite way. Cole won by one vote, even though Handy like lied and said he wasn't.
Who cares?
Yeah. Okay, well then let's not even talk about it. Let's go to the next segment.
I'm glad it was over.
Fuck this.
Glad Roger Ebert loved it so much.
Hey, you want to talk about your best friend Roger Ebert and how much of an idiot he is?
I did like how he said that Maura Tierney, she's the female lead, she was a hero.
Which one? Because there were two.
The wife.
Oh.
Or the girlfriend. Because that role had zero chance of success, but she like didn't embarrass herself. So great job.
Great job. Yeah.
Let's move on.
A shitty drunk fucking. It's just making me pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, I did have one note. I thought it was funny and weird how there was one random shot of Rip Torn with a bottle of booze or a glass of booze in front of him, like passed
when he's a
out.
well-known fucking lush.
I was like, did they just capture this moment on set, or like?
Dude, when you sent me that shit of him and that one dude fighting, I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, one of the legendary maniacs of all time. R.I.P. Just to Rip.
Yeah, just after I had talked him up. Rip.
Tried to kill a dude with a hammer. For real.
My last note says, honestly, this ending was like a huge relief off my chest. I'm going to cry.
You're like, we so free!
I saved your life and all you did was spit in my face. So speaking of saving lives, but not spitting in faces, Superman, stylized as Superman in the movie. I'm like, stylized? So this came out in 1978. And this was like a big partnership directed by Richard Donner. And we got an ensemble cast here, which it's really weird to see that like the main character of this film, Christopher Reeve, like Superman, isn't even billed until like the third or fourth. Like he's the third actor to be billed, but like the fourth or fifth person to be filmed thing, because like the first thing is like Rich, like Sokine or whatever, and then it's like Richard Donner, and then it's like Marlon Brando, and then Gene Hackman, and then Christopher Reeve. But it's like nowadays, regardless of who it was, it would have definitely been like the top billed guy would have been the dude that like, you know, was Superman. But speaking of which, so we got Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Christopher Reeve, Jeff East, Margot Kidder, Glenn Ford, a bunch of other people. It's kind of like an ensemble cast here. Ned Beatty. And it's pretty much just like the origin of Superman.
Mm-hmm. So what's your history with this movie? Did you grow up like watching this as a kid, or? You seen it a bunch of times? Or?
Not really. Like I had seen this movie later on in life a lot, but like as a kid, I might have possibly caught it on TV at some point, but like I don't think we ever owned it on VHS or anything like that. But I do remember, like, I think I probably saw Batman before I saw this. And when I saw, like, this Superman is when I started to become, like, a huge fan of the character. And then when I watched, like, Justice League and stuff like that, the animated stuff, is when I became, like, a true huge fan of Superman. But, like, Christopher Reeve and, like, Michael Keaton Batman are pretty much what, like, Batman and Superman are, like, model after today. Like Adam West obviously made Batman and superheroes like super popular for that time, but like obviously like Michael Keaton made it, like the more dark and stuff like that. But as far as Superman, yeah, like I mean, I obviously wasn't born when this movie came out. I'm like, obviously,
what?
Don't you guys know when I was fucking born? But
we're old men.
Yeah, that's true. We're not that old though. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll never be fucking born earlier than we were, so that makes no sense. I'm like, Matt,
in a few years, we'll be older than this movie.
Yeah.
Wait, what? No, not possible.
Yeah, I'll
you just like broke my brain.
I'll be older than Christopher Reeve. It's like, what? No, I won't. So what about you?
Yeah, we saw it when back in like the VHS
Yeah.
rental days, and I remember thinking it was good and
Yeah.
being disturbed by Lois Lane's death. Spoiler alert.
That's still like one of the most shocking things ever, because that's like
Yeah.
something they definitely would never do, I feel like, nowadays. But like, it was, yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's like shocking.
So I think this is a good movie. I like it.
Mhm.
I don't have real strong feelings about the character of Superman one way or the other.
Mhm.
But one thing that I will say is like in this movie, and I recently, a few years ago, watched all the sequels, which I'd never seen before.
Like Superman 2, 3,
2, 3, and
all
4.
that stuff.
And Christopher Reeve is so good.
Yeah, he's
Like-
probably like one of the best actors that doesn't get enough. I mean, he
I
gets
can't
a lot
imagine
of
anyone
praise
doing
for
it
this,
better.
but yeah, like and it's like the main dichotomy between like Superman and Clark Kent that like a lot of people don't do. It's kind of like Bruce Wayne and Batman that a lot of people don't do. But like this one, it's for sure. It's like,
It's like I undervalued how good he is as
Yeah,
Superman
he's-
and Clark
yeah.
Kent in these movies. It's really, really good.
well, I mean, it's because you get like movies like Man of Steel where it's like there really is no distinction between the two people. As much as
Yeah.
I'm sure the actor is great and other stuff, it's kind of like that was not. But anyway, we got some Oscar nominees here. Sadly, they're like it won like a special achievement award, like an Oscar, I guess, like a special achievement award, and Gene Hackman won like a BAFTA for best supporting actor. But like, I feel like this movie should have won for best soundtrack because it's one of the most recognizable themes ever. Like John Williams, besides like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, which this came out before Indiana Jones, so like, you know what I mean? Like this was definitely like, it's definitely the most one of his recognizable, and it's, I mean, Superman's probably like one of the most recognizable characters of all time, so it definitely should have won for that. And I think Christopher Reeve should have won for an Oscar for portraying like Clark Kent and Superman, because it's essentially he's playing two different characters. Like when he switches back and forth as Clark Kent in the same scene as like Superman, like when he catches that bullet and then he like he's fainted and then he's just like is like, you know, it's like that's Superman, and you're like, holy shit, like I cannot believe this.
Yeah, the score is what stuck out to me the most this time rewatching it. Like it's John Williams is a stud.
Yeah.
Like this score is wonderful. It's so good.
Yeah, it captures like the wonder of like the character of Superman, and like holy shit, you know, and it's like,
and you get to
music
enjoy it
does so
for
much.
5 straight minutes of credits.
Right.
I timed it. 5 minutes.
I think it's
that
like-
was pushing it, dude. But you get to hear the music,
Yeah.
so who cares?
yeah. I'd rather watch something like that with good music
Yeah.
than fucking. I mean, at least the
A
credits
crawl.
were moving towards you.
Yep, couldn't agree more on the score.
Also, like the intro reminds me like of movies that did it later, where like they start off with black and white, June 1938 old film reel, and then it kind of like shows the first appearance of Superman with like a kid, like, and it like pretty much is like, you know, Metropolis was the ravages of like the Great Depression and stuff, and that's when like Superman first comes on the scene, and then it's like bursts through with the credits, and it's just like, dude, this is so cool. So up there for credits with, I think, Keaton Batman for like as far as like Superman movies for sure, and even some movies for sure. Sweet soundtrack for the Regal, the Crystal, the Ghoulish Krypton.
So my big criticism of this movie is like, I think the first half of it is like pretty slow, and it takes a long time to get going.
Yeah,
once it does get going, it's good. It's great from
Yeah.
there on out. But I'm like, this Krypton stuff is kind of death. It's like,
Honestly, I felt the last part was kind of death.
Really?
In this movie, the beginning is legit because
I just think it
sets
goes
up
on a little
stuff.
too long. And
it sets up stuff for the next movie, which I think is completely fine.
yeah, I guess.
I think my biggest complaint though is there's definitely stuff that could be cut out of this movie. Which is funny because there's like a 3-hour like cut of this where it's like it adds more stuff in, which is fine in certain spots, but like there are definitely things when we get to them I'll talk about that I feel like even as a huge Superman fan could definitely be cut out of this. It could make the film better. I think like they should definitely keep the Zod stuff like in to like set it for the next movie, but they could cut out like some of the stuff of the council. The way Marlon Brando says Krypton and saying Krypton is definitely like he didn't read any, like he doesn't give a shit. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I mean,
he's great.
Marlon Brando's great.
Yeah.
I think he's okay in this.
I think it's obvious that he was just in it for the money.
Paycheck.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's still, like, his voice is great. It's just kind of like, I was just definitely, like, not believing that him and his wife loved each other. It was like, he's like, puts his arm around his wife, and she holds him, or, no, she's like...
Feel the chemistry.
Yeah, and I'm like, eh.
So I had a question. Why did Jor-El have to die?
Like, what do you mean? Like, why did he have to, like, just in general?
Yeah, couldn't he have, like... I mean, they're all, like, gods, basically. Couldn't they have, like, found a solution to their...
Well,
couldn't he have gone with the baby? Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess if like he had enough time, he could have made like another, like a big rocket for his whole family.
mm-hmm.
But I guess they like make it so that like it's weird because like it literally he's like approaches the council. They're like, "Fuck you, none of this is real." They're like denying like climate change essentially, and then fucking the planet blows up within the hour. So it's like. I almost wonder, like you said, if he had just made like a rocket for his whole family.
Mm-hmm.
But like he barely launched the fucking rocket for his son. It like the fucking planet was exploding as he launched it, which is like, okay, like what if he had like waited just another couple seconds to fucking finish it? The fucking his son would have been like dead. I agree with you though. It's one of those
just
things
that
where
question
like,
popped in my mind watching this. I was like, okay, whatever.
Well, it's also like I think that like that's like the huge downfall of like that civilization is like for how smart they were and all the shit they could do. They were like blind to like think they thought they were like invincible and stuff.
Can I give a hot take?
Yeah,
I think Russell Crowe was a much better Jor-El than Marlon Brando.
I agree with you.
Nice. He's great in that.
Yeah,
He's one of the few good things about that movie.
I think he's the only good thing about that movie.
You might be right.
Mr.
Unhinged himself.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't hate Marlon Brando. I just think that it was...
No, he's a legend, but
kinda,
this isn't one of his shining moments.
Yeah, it's just kind of... I mean, even Christopher Reeve was like... You were like, how was it working with him? And he's like, I mean, I didn't really work with him, and it's just kind of a shame that he doesn't seem to give a shit anymore. And everybody was like...
I'm like, whoa!
Everybody was expecting him to kiss his ass, and he was like, nope.
What do you think about your boy, Richard Donner?
He's great.
He's a legend.
Yeah, my only problem is, like, obviously, like, is for, like...
He never made Lethal Weapon 5, like he promised?
Yeah. Well, that and, like, as much as I, like, love him for directing this film, I think that there are definitely scenes in this film that they could have cut out. I know there's a Richard Donner cut of the second one, which kind of, I guess... I've never seen it, so I don't really know what he fixes, because I remember the second one being pretty great, so... But, like, I know there was a lot of studio interference just in general, and I'm sure that a lot of, like, the stuff that I'm not a huge fan of in this film came from, like, the So-Kinds, like, putting their, like... Because that's why, like, in 3, it's essentially, like, he's not involved at all, and like some other dude was brought in to finish the second one, kind of like the whole like Zack Snyder thing where like
Richard Lester.
Yeah, where it's like essentially that happened, and then like Gene Hackman and Margot Kidder aren't even in the third one because they're like, well, Richard Donner's not here, this is bullshit, so they like left. That's why the third one's like they went from high to like ugh. So I think he's great though.
Yeah.
I always thought that like the Phantom Zone scene where they put those dudes like in like the area where like the infinite prison where like they can't age and stuff is like reminded me of like the Ghostbuster containment unit where like they essentially got put in there for like forever, you know what I mean, or until they break out.
An eternal purgatory.
Yeah.
One more note about the crew of this movie.
Yeah.
It was edited by Stuart Baird, and I think I saw a notice in your notes.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible for directing Star Trek Nemesis, the worst Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
But I don't want to dump on him because like he's a great editor, but I don't think directing was his forte.
Yeah, because I think was he the guy that did? Who was the dude that did Dead Heat?
Oh, I don't remember.
I feel like he was involved in some of these kinds of movies too, where they were like really big, and then it was kind of like
that was another well-known editor, Mark Goldblatt,
and then he went to like direct a film, and it was Dead Heat, and it was like, ooh. Which is fine.
Dead
I
Heat's
mean,
better than Star Trek Nemesis.
Yeah, I will not ever argue that fact. I mean, and I do mean fact. So, they said that like, when they send like, they're gonna send like Clark, or not Clark, I guess it's Kal-El, but whatever, Superman to Earth. They say that like, oh, the planet Earth is thousands of years behind, and I'm like, dude, it's way more than thousands of years behind fucking Krypton. That place is like, he was able to build a fully functional fucking spaceship in like 2 hours for his son.
Well, dude, Wilford Brimley did that in The Thing, almost, remember? When he built that UFO.
Yeah, but I mean, he also had the knowledge, I guess.
He became an alien.
Yeah. The average person wouldn't be able to do that unless they had the knowledge, so it's not like everybody here is like...
I just think it's weird that he built like a little one-man UFO.
It wasn't even finished, and it was also like a saucer. It's like, did it specifically have to look like a fucking gray alien spaceship? So, what do you think about like people flying all over the place when Krypton's being destroyed, like alien ant farm style? They were like, "Hey, okay? Are you okay?" I was like, "You've been hit by Krypton's floating."
Nice reference.
Yeah, super baby Clark hanging hog straight out of the meteor. I thought that was. I forgot about that, so when I was watching it, I was just like, "You don't see that a lot, like children's fucking wee-wees hanging out." Fucking, they did that a lot in the early Dragon Ball too. Fucking, it would animate a little dingus, and I'd be like, "Okay, there you have it." I just thought I'd bring that up because it was so...
I'm so glad you did.
Yeah, so funny. What'd you think about baby Clark holding up the truck? It was a real feat of strength.
Yeah.
I think that stuff's cool, especially in old movies like that, because it was stuff, obviously, that was all done. Like, they had to jack up the truck and have him, like...
Yeah, my favorite effect in the whole movie is when he outruns the...
That's what I was
train.
just thinking that
was so cool. I'm not totally sure how they even did that. Like, it was
I'm not sure either.
Cool effect.
So then we get introduced to Clark's first love, Lana Lang, who kind of becomes like someone in the third movie. It kind of shows up again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from what I remember at least, because that's the movie where like they don't have Margot Kidder or like Gene Hackman for Lex Luthor, so they're like, well, we got to bring back, this old stuff. I think you were talking about the running thing. I was like, and then he like kicked the ball. I was like, dude, the Bengals should draft Clark Kent.
I was gonna make a McPherson. You think he kicked it further than McPherson could?
Yes. I mean, he could just be everybody on the team. He could just throw it to himself. I thought it was pretty legit, because whoever they got to play like young Clark Kent sounds like Christopher Reeves a bit. I was kind of like, that's pretty legit. So
But yeah, this is another part of the movie where I think it goes on a little bit too
There's
long.
definitely some stuff that could have
I was
been
getting kind of bored.
cut out, but there's definitely like some great stuff in this. There's a huge difference from like this, where Jonathan Kent says like he was put here for a reason, like not to be a football star, and like he's like, I don't know what it is, but you weren't, put on this earth just to like showboat and stuff like that. And then the Man of Steel, where like he gets killed by a tornado for no reason. He's just like, just let me die. It's like, did he like just have like a suicide wish, or he was trying to get out of his marriage?
Suicide by tornado.
Yeah, he's like, Martha will get like a lot of money if I just die by suicide.
Wait, why'd you say that
name? Yeah, seriously.
I hate that.
So I thought this was pretty sad, and I forgot about this until I watched the film. But like, where Jonathan Kent is running, and then he's just like, oh no, and then he like dies of a heart attack, and it's like Clark's like, I could do anything but like save him, and I was like, Jesus, dude, like,
yeah.
It's funny because there's a lot of like stuff where like, in certain versions Jonathan Kent dies of a heart attack, but in like the animated versions his mom and dad live to be like old people,
Really?
which is kind of like, so it's like a difference between like, Clark and like Bruce Wayne, where like Bruce Wayne only really had Alfred and he didn't have his parents, and then like Clark Kent had both, and it's like kind of shows the dichotomy of the two. So
Wait, Bruce Wayne's parents were killed?
just like Batman.
They only
Can you
tell
believe-
us that every movie.
So I think this is the quintessential like intro for Superman. Like, you don't ever have to redo this, like, in my opinion. Like, it's so good of like showing his origin, his like, like what happened with his parents and stuff like that. Like, how he was raised, and like he was raised to like, be humble and stuff like that. He got humbled by Iron Sheik. He's like, I will call you Penny. So he goes north to build the Fortress of Solitude. The set was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of cool sets in this movie.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. Like, once they first introduced like Clark Kent into the actual like Daily Planet, and it's like, it's funny to think. So it's like Superman is like the best actor because he goes out of his way to intentionally fuck everything up as Clark Kent, so no one would ever suspect that he's Superman.
He's a Superman.
Yeah. But it's funny because in this film, like you said, it's like people always joke like, oh, so he just takes off his glasses. But like in this film, that's like just the tip of the iceberg. Like, he's wearing glasses, but like the way that he holds himself, the way he like wears his hair, the way that he like wears it, like he wears a suit. It's just, all of it is the total package to like, you would never suspect this guy is Superman. And that's why like they normally when they show Superman that he's got all this stuff, but like he doesn't act that way. He acts like if Superman was just wearing a suit and glasses, and it's like, well, no shit, people would think that guy might be Superman because he's like, under that suit you feel like he could be ripped, It's like,
I always ignored that criticism. It's like, if you can't get over that, then like maybe Superman isn't for you.
Yeah. But it's also like, yeah, I think it's a stupid criticism, but it's also like kind of one of those things like we were talking about, where it's like Christopher Reeve put in the hours to actually put his characters aside.
Totally.
But we've got a character here that I've never been a huge fan of that shows up in the movie.
Otis?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think like this is a character that could have been kept on the drawing fucking board, because
Straight out of the Looney Tunes episode.
this character is not in the comics at all. I'm sure he probably shows up at some point. Not that they have to like draw everything from the comics, but like, if you think about it, like, what did he add to the fucking film? Like, that like the other character, like Miss Tessmacher, couldn't add. He's essentially like Mr. Luthor. He's like fucking Lenny from like Mice and Men over here.
He's a real nog.
Yeah. Except for he actually had like character development. Unlike this guy who's like a complete, like you said.
Yeah, that's like a character that's aimed for like 6-year-olds to enjoy.
Yeah, I don't understand it, because towards the end of the film it like essentially like fucks up the film, because it like they do the same thing twice, and it's almost like, dude, this couldn't have been cut down.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I won't argue with that. But I do think like some of the interactions between him and Mean Gene are pretty funny.
Yeah,
Because it's like a wacky racers and like Muttley like dynamic. You know, the sidekick that keeps screwing things up.
right.
I don't know. It's very cartoonish.
It's like I get it, but it's also like it makes no sense why he would even, like. There's no reason why he would have him around. It's not like he's like. It's not like he's like a vampire and fucking this guy's his Renfield. Like, you know. It's also weird. I always thought it was weird how, like, in this version of, like, Superman, Lex Luthor is already, like, a wanted criminal. When it's, like... it's, like, I guess he's hiding from the police and they get munched. I forgot about that. Like, he kills the shit out of them.
You remember Ned Beatty from Deliverance?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe after Deliverance happened, he turned into Otis?
He turned into an idiot?
That's the result of that horrible trip.
He could. I don't know. He could have like some sort of like
Otis Origins.
Yeah. Otis
Deliverance.
Rising. Superman Otis Rising. the
Deliverance is part of the DCU.
Superman the Rise of, or it's like Superman the Rise. Or no, what was it? The Otis
the Rise
of Superman's
dumb
arch
nemesis.
nemesis sidekick.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, so also we've got like the real estate swindle, which also made its way into Superman Returns, and I was like, it's what it is. I won't, I guess, say much more about it than it just kind of makes Lex Luthor look like kind of like a small time character, even though he's like the smartest man on Earth. I thought it was kind of weird that he would be like the smartest person on Earth, yet he's running this shit that like Otis would have came up with. Gene Hackman though plays Lex Luthor great in the film.
Yeah, he's great, and the character is great. Like,
yeah,
a just totally arrogant dude who knows how smart he is.
Yeah, and that's like,
and he like lords it over everyone.
It's like that part of Lex Luthor is great. I just always, that's the one part of the film that I was always kind of like not a huge fan of. It's just them having him be like a, I don't know, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we got a montage of Superman saving people.
Yeah, these are my favorite parts of the movie, the montages of Superman action.
Yeah, that's kind of like when they do that in like any film, like with they're having the origin, like Batman or Spider-Man saving people. It's like, oh, he's finally making his way on the scene. Like,
but there was a missed opportunity because unless I missed it, at no point did like the dude with the bottle of booze look up and be like, "Huh?" Like, how could they not do that? They failed. That reminds me of that happened in 3 straight James Bond movies, and it was the same dude.
It was
he
the
was
same
in like,
shot.
different countries. They just had the same actor come in and do like, oh,
Jesus.
He happens to see James Bond in action 3 different missions, and each time he looks at his bottle like, huh? Not again.
Oh man.
Anyways,
so we got a robe getting wet scene, which I thought was disgusting.
Yep.
Thought of that was fucking...
It was disturbing.
Barfing. So what the fuck is with Lois's watch here? It's like a Timex watch that literally just has 2 lines for everything on the face of the watch.
I did not notice the watch at all.
I was like, what the fuck? Because there's a shot where like she's like, where is he? Or like, am I like late? And it's like she looks down on it and you see like an arm in a fucking watch. And the watch is, yeah, it's like, I can't describe, I guess I'm trying to describe it, but it's literally just the face is just a bunch of fucking Roman numeral 2s for every fucking thing on the watch. And I was like, huh?
You know what? To me, that sounds like a weird watch.
It was. I always thought this was weird. Probably maybe just because when I saw this, like when I was younger, I was kind of like, like this isn't really my part of it. But it's also the way it's portrayed. I don't know, like Lois's poem to herself about like she's like, you know how you make me feel.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I feel like there are better ways to have done that.
Yeah.
Like, but
it was a little clunky.
I think it's also probably of its time because this is like the 70s and stuff going into the 80s. So it's very like super romance kind of thing, but it was also very weird. Like I don't know, to a degree to me, like
But other than that, I thought Margot Kidder was great.
Yeah, she's great.
And, like, you can feel the heat between her and Superman.
Right. Like, when she gets back, she has, like, she's supposed to go out with, like, Clark Kent, and, like, she doesn't give a shit about him. And he's just, like, thinking to himself, oh, hell yeah, you know, she's into Superman. Then he's like, oh, wait, she's into Superman, not into me. So,
but I was blown away by her, like, patio.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this thing is awesome.
Very unrealistic upper town kind of stuff. Of course, like, a lot of this was filmed in New York. Scenes with Luthor and his gang. He's being tortured. It's like, these people are killing him. So this is kind of like one of my main complaints is like the fucking missile hijack scene kind of takes over the movie for like way too long. It's like, I agree. This is why I feel like this Otis character needed to not.
Like they finally got through that scene, and then Otis is like, "I messed up," and then like, "Crap, we have to do this again." Like this is actually annoying me to watch.
Yeah, exactly. I think like I don't understand why that was put in the film because honestly, all they had to do is also like, why the fuck is Lex Luthor involved in this? Like, he's the mastermind. Why is he fucking having to put on disguises and go out here and do this shit?
I agree with that, but to me, it's funny that he does that. So like, I don't mind.
I mean, it wasn't funny at all.
I thought so.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong about your own opinion. I didn't think. I think
it was just goofy.
It just drags on too long. Like it kind of like makes the rest of the movie like, what the fuck is this? Because like, I feel like the missile hijack scene should have been something that like just happens, and then like you don't really think about it other than holy shit, Luthor has got the fucking missiles. But all you're thinking about is holy shit, when is this going to be over by the end? Because it's like, good God, like you said, he fucks it up, and then like. It also is like, how stupid is Lex Luthor to send fucking Otis in as the guy to program the missile?
If he had another guy, he'd do it. Otis is his only guy.
Except for he sends in Miss Tessmacher to fix it, so that makes no fucking sense. Dude, this is getting me fucking pissed just thinking about it. So.
I had a thought during the scene where at the, what's the newspaper called? The Daily Planet?
Yeah.
The boss, Perry.
Yeah.
He's like kind of lecturing his crew.
Right.
Like, I want to find out everything you can know about Superman. Where he's from, what his favorite baseball team is. And I was like, dude, if I was the boss of a newspaper and someone asked an alien what his favorite baseball team was, I'd be like, you're fired. Like, what a stupid question. Who cares? It's first contact time. I just thought that was funny.
I never thought about that. He's like, my favorite baseball team was the Smallville Slug. I mean, I'm not from Smallville. Everyone's like, yeah, I don't know. I never thought about that, honestly.
Like, that would be very low on my list of questions.
Also,
to an
like,
alien.
why the fuck would like the first people that get a crack at asking Superman anything are these random reporters from the Daily Planet and not fucking the government?
Yeah, like the top scientific minds.
I mean, I guess like if you're that, it's not like they get to pick. Like Superman decides who he talks to. So we got awesome scene between Lex and Superman. This is something that should happen way sooner in the film, in my opinion. Like the missile hijack scene kind of hijacked that away. There should have been more stuff between Lex and Superman because when they're together, it's like, it's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Lex gets picked up and he goes, "Oh!" Like, I thought that was funny. So essentially he's like, the controls are in that box. Don't look in that box. And he like fucking outsmarts him. And he opens the lead-lined box and there's kryptonite in it. And it's like, when Dracula sees a cross, he's like, you know, it's like instantly like, holy shit. Like, he gets like super fucked up just by like even being near it. And then he puts like the necklace on him and it's just like, well, see you later. You're fucked. You know, I'm about to go like blow up a bunch of people for no reason other than like to make money. And which I thought, I mean, it was really cool to see, you know, obviously like Gene Hackman being like a complete, you know, bastard again, but it's this time it's like for like higher stakes than it's ever been because he's gonna try to kill people like, with bombs.
He's not just shooting thugs in the back anymore.
Yeah,
on the streets.
Miss Tessmacher saves Superman, which like it's funny. Like it's like one of those things where it's like I thought it was cool that like they show Superman being so vulnerable that he couldn't have saved himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had to have like got help. Where like a lot of times that doesn't happen, which I thought was cool. It's like, you know, everybody needs help and stuff. Where it's like,
yeah, he had to make a case.
Right. Montage of Superman saving a bunch of people and going after the missiles. We've got some like miniature stuff going on here with like the dams and stuff, which I thought was cool.
Yep. I also forgot that he like flew inside the fault line and like, fixed it. That was cool. Some cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is like, it's funny because they always like, whenever they come up with a new Superman movie, I'm like, oh, they're going to do something cool like they do in the original Christopher Reeves, but it's usually like something stupid like, that's like, okay, like this is just a bunch of CG.
Let's have a punch fight in front of an
nonsense.
IKEA.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the
cool.
newest one, Man of Steel, they go into an IHOP and fight. It's like, cool. Is this really necessary? So he says, he saves Jimmy Olsen, and he says, "You're safe now, son." Jimmy says, "It's okay, it's all right. There's something to save for. Lois told me so." The way he says, "It's okay," was like, "It's okay.
It's okay."
I was like, huh?
Nice.
So then we got like, I was going to say your favorite part, but I didn't. This isn't your favorite part. I meant the part that you brought up earlier about it being like really like holy shit. Is like when Lois gets like crushed and like killed. It's like she's screaming in multiple scenes like help me, help me.
It's like a nightmare, dude.
And like
she's getting buried alive.
Yeah, and like you think that, you know, he's gonna show up any minute, and he's just like, it's like once again, this is something that's like really cool because they show like Superman can do a lot, but he's only one man, and it's like he couldn't save her in time, and it was just like, dude, holy shit. And then, like, he does something that is impossible. He makes the Earth turn backwards, which would have just, like, fucked a bunch of stuff up. But, of course, like, you know, it's whatever. Like, he turns back time by racing around the Earth and, like, saves her just in time now. But when he finds her, like, dead body, it's like, he's, like... He, like, screams, and it's, like, Sonic Boom style.
Yeah. He's devastated by his failure.
Yeah. He's yelling bloody murder. So, what do you think about Superman just bringing Otis and Lex straight to jail?
That was funny.
I thought that was funny because it was like, you find out earlier in the movie that I guess the police have been trying to capture Lex Luthor for like ever, and they just couldn't do it. And then like Superman brings him in and is like, you know, Warden, here's Lex Luthor and this other guy, and like, they're going to jail pending a fair trial. Like, I thought that was cool that he said that.
Yeah. It's...
Not like I don't know how the fuck they wouldn't convict him after.
Right. That's the cool thing. I mean, Superman's a very wholesome... He's like the ultimate wholesome character. And that comes across very good in this movie.
Hey, you don't want to watch Man of Steel where he fucking breaks the dude's neck at the end of the movie? He's like, it's okay, you're fucking dead. So, I just thought this was like an entertaining... joy to watch. It's very, like you said, uplifting and stuff.
Yeah. My last note is I forgot that he has like one-liners and stuff a lot of the time when he's catching criminals or like saving people. And I was
he's like die and like lasers them. I'm like, wait, what?
But it made me think, do you think Roger Moore could have played Superman?
I don't know.
The ultimate American character played by the ultimate British actor.
Well, they had what's his face play Superman in Man of Steel. Yeah. What's his name? I forget. But he's been in other stuff that was good, so it's not like I don't think he's bad or anything. Yeah, I mean, I think anybody could play Superman. Well, not anybody. I guess they couldn't do like Danny DeVito, but
why not?
Oh, true. He could be Otis in the sequel. He's like, mama. He's like, wah, 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 wah. I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I mean, good stuff. I'm kind of biased to the characters, but I think that this is like the quintessential like superhero, especially Superman story for sure. Like, I don't think they've done it better since then for Superman, which is funny because this is like pretty much the first time for big film.
Yeah. Yep, it was good. I liked it.
Big film.
Probably not quite as much as you, but I'm gonna go 7.95.
Nice. I'm like, and I'm gonna do 11.95 and push 2 bags over to your side.
Nice.
So 9.95 for Matt. No, yeah, for sure. I think that like, I mean, I have to give it a 9.95, but like, probably, you know, there are definitely things about this that I would change, but I don't think I've ever seen a movie where I've seen it where I was like, I wouldn't change at least one thing about it. So, overall, it's good stuff, man.
All right.
I'm glad that we, you know, Mean Gene May was fun. And we'll definitely, I want to do like more themed months like this in the future. Maybe take a little break for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Cool.
So,
so what's next?
Oh, what's next? Well, you know, a lot of times in this podcast, we talk about, you know, theme months and, you know, we have a good time. And this time we're going to have a great time because it's Martin Cove week next week.
Oh.
And Weird Watches is Cagney and Lacey, where he plays like a cop on the show.
Okay.
And the feature presentation is Steel Justice.
Dude.
So
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah. So we're gonna be watching those, and we're gonna be talking about it as usual on the podcast for
Nice.
you and your enjoyment and our enjoyment. Just realized this whole time I think this has been off a little bit, so maybe in post I can correct that. But my kryptonite. I'm like, if I go crazy, will you call me Superman? It's like, does Superman go fucking crazy? Like, I don't ever remember that. Wouldn't that be like Joker? What the fuck are they talking about? He's like, whoa. I'm like, huh? He turns into a super ape.
Well, everybody, that's the end of Mean Gene May.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching all this month, everybody. I do have one question, though, Matt. What made you want to watch Welcome to Mooseport all this month?
Well, I can't take full credit because it wasn't my idea. I got it from some random person instant messaged me on AIM. You hear that too?
Yeah.
I am transmitting this message on a 9.95 bandwidth. Only the Buddy Shots podcast hosts should be able to hear this.
Who are you?
Let's just say my associates didn't like your scores for Ishtar, Kong vs. Godzilla, Vertical Limit, among many others. This is just the beginning. You'll hear more from us soon.
Damn, I don't know how many more Ishtars I can stand.
Matt, we run the Buddy Shots podcast. We stand for truth, justice, and the 9.95 way.
You're right. Bring it on! Let's put our bodies into overdrive!
No!
We gotta do it one more time because I botched it and I laughed.
Oh! Damn it, I shouldn't have moved my head.
I did it like I was in pain.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, that's the end of Mean Gene May.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching all this month. Let's do that again because, like, I sounded like I could give a fuck less. I do have one question, though, Matt. What made you... Wait. What made you?
What made you?
I thought it would be funny that you would find the fucking idea off of a random podcast forum. Everyone's like, what's a forum?
Yeah. I got it from a news group.
Said I won't, and then I did. We're too damn close. We moved this. As soon as I looked at it, I was like, dude, I'm like on your wall.
It's like the worst frame I've ever seen.
Oh. After that was horrible. I know. I was like laughing. Matt, are you here? I don't know why that's not at your house.
Whoa! Mike! Thanks, you just saved my life.
I like how you're laughing.